Can the Guardians of the Galaxy survive the entire galaxy hunting them down? Welcome to Comicstorian's complete story series, In Space! Here we take your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into tiny bites before throwing them back into an asteroid belt, then we read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems with the Kree Empire, and all art is owned by its respective company, which I believe is currently located on Earth. After Hala, the last Kree accuser blamed Peter Quill for the destruction of her planet. She soon focused on destroying the planet of Spartox. The Guardians did manage to defeat Hala, but she still managed to destroy the entire capital city. Using this as a way to focus blame, the Spartox administrators all blamed Peter Quill as the reason for the destruction, causing Peter to now be seen as a fugitive. Currently, Peter Quill and Kitty Pryde find themselves in what Kitty calls the subterranean poop hole of the Badoon prison planet outpost, and Peter is still blaming himself for what happened to Spartox. Kitty asks, "What's wrong? Are you hurt? Because if not, then we should probably get moving. We are being looked for. Can't you deal with this later?" But Peter just sits there, telling her that he lost a planet. She looks at him and asks, "Are you really doing this right now? I asked you if we could talk about this 10 times before in much safer places. Right now, we don't have the time. We have to do this later, Peter." She then leans over and tells him that he hasn't even commented on her new look. To which Peter says, "No, absolutely no. No to the outfit or no to commenting? Do you think this is my first trip around the Andromeda Strand? No. To your trap? No. I would rather talk to Thanos about his moisturizing regimen than talk about your clothes. Like you dress so great. Pro tip, neither blue nor Indiana Jones is your color, Peter." As the two continue to go back and forth, Kitty begins to wonder how it is that she's been a superhero since the age of 13, but this entire time since then, she has never been able to pull off a look. "So you hate what you're wearing too, Kitty?" Peter stops and asks if they're really fighting about this, but Kitty tells him, "Of course not. I just need you to be ready now." Peter asks if she wore that horrible outfit to snap him out of his funk. She tells him, "It worked, right?" The two begin to make their way across the tunnels when they happen to come across some guards looking for them, and Peter says, "Psst," and Kitty tells him, "No, psst." Soon the guards turn around and then they end up shooting the guards, with Peter arguing the fact that they totally had that. More guards begin to show up and Peter and Kitty quickly begin to stop them and begin to escape again. But after a short run, they find themselves surrounded by an exceptionally large guard. Peter suggests that they should probably run, and Kitty tells him to hang on. She's thinking maybe the guards can take them where they need to go. Peter explains that there's no way that they would do that, and she says that she's been a hero since age 13. She knows when to run and when to do the other thing. Peter begins to open his mouth to the big guard, but before he can finish his sentence, the guard punches Peter in the face with a booming crack. Kitty manages to phase out and get Peter away and tells him that that went poorly, but at least he's knocked out, so he can't rub it in that she was wrong. He begins to wake up, telling her, "I'm awake." "And how long have you been a superhero again?" As Peter begins to get back up, he's then spotted by a patrolling guard and he begins to make a break for it again. But as they begin to get away, Kitty states that maybe they should find out how they came here to get in. Before she can finish her sentence, she sees all of the other aliens. She begins to walk through the settlement of prisoners after seeing an alien holding a lifeless child. She tells Peter, "Give her the gun." He tells her to stick to the plan, but Kitty says, "The plan sucks, give me your gun." He asks what she's gonna do with it, and through her tears, she yells, "She's gonna shut this down, this entire concentration camp." After taking the gun, Kitty jumps up and begins to phase through the buildings, destroying them, and that's when the guards begin to fly in. Kitty knocks them out, giving Peter a vehicle to fly, and then she continues to destroy things by phasing through them. Peter tries to tell the prisoners to go on, get out of there, but that's when one of the prisoners stops him and tells him that he saved their lives. He's a hero to these people. Peter tells him, "No, but you could tell me where you keep the high-risk political prisoners." Prisoners tell him that it was an honor to have met him. Peter tells them that really doesn't help. And then Peter stops when he sees the giant guard. The guard pulls his fist back and he punches Peter to the ground. And then he opens up his eyes to see a Badoon sentencing him for crimes against their brotherhood and sisterhood. They find his existence an abomination to their people, and he is now sentenced to death. Off at another planet, Rocket walks in cuffs as some Badoon is walking him onto the planet. While they're talking in their own language, Rocket shouts at them, stating that it's rude to talk and spit. Everyone in the universe knows that spitting is Glock and rude. But you know what? What you don't know is that I've been stalling for time. So if you would, could you look up now? When they look up, they see a figure heading towards the ground, and then the figure hits the ground, causing an explosion, sending everyone flying back. Rocket shouts, say it, you magnificent piece of orange glorkin." Through the wreckage, Ben Grimm stands up stating, "It's clobbering time, baby." Rocket jumps on him, telling him, "You did amazing! But you did miss the big one." Ben looks back and he sees a large guard walking towards them, stating, "Of course I missed the big one. There's always a big one." The Badoon jumps towards Ben and Ben jumps towards the Badoon, and the two of them punch each other right in the face. He then begins to beat down the Badoon, asking if that was it, because I thought that there would be more. Rocket looks towards the ship, stating, "Well, that's just great. You knocked over our getaway ship. Guess I'll just have to go about fixing it." And while Ben goes to push the ship back over, he notices a rather attractive alien. Hey there, name's Ben. I'm a Guardian of the Galaxy. Also used to be in the Fantastic Four, kind of a big deal. The alien says something, but Ben can't quite understand it because it's in the alien's language, and another alien translates that she's stating that she didn't understand anything he just said. While Ben begins to flirt with the alien, more Badoon appear ready to attack. So Ben tells the alien, "Hold on a second," and he begins to beat down on everyone, telling them that I was busy talking. More guards begin to appear and they all begin to open fire on Ben, and that's when a Rocket jumps in, shooting and shouting, "Yeah, he's right! You can't even finish a thought around here!" The two continue to take down the Badoon forces, but as the aliens try to get away, another large Badoon steps in front of the female alien. She closes her eyes, bracing for what's about to come next. But when she opens her eyes, she sees the Badoon has fallen over, and Ben Grimm is standing there with a gun. He helps her up, telling everyone that they need to hurry and get off this planet, and that's when another ship lands in front of them. Rocket pokes his head out, telling everyone, "All aboard!" And that's when all of the aliens begin to get onto the ship. Once on board, Ben checks to make sure that no one is left behind, and that's when the female alien grabs Ben and hugs him. As their head touches, a blinding blue light begins to swirl around, and Rocket asks, "What's going on back there?" And Ben tells him, I think we just got married." Rocket shouts, "Mazel tov!" At least that's what Kitty says. "You know, I'm really overdue in meeting someone special too." Just as Rocket is about to take off, he receives a transmission, and when they pull it up, they see the Badoon sentencing Peter Quill to death. Glords! Quill got himself caught! Earlier, back out of nowhere, you're probably wondering where all of this started. How did they even get involved on this planet to begin with? Well, the Guardians all sit around for lunch while Gamora informs everyone that they've located her. The person that they're looking for is currently located on a prison planet in the Bacilla Quadrant under Badoon control. Kitty asks, what did she do to end up on a prison planet run by those asshats? And Gamora says they defied them time and time again. They are their enemy. Kitty says, "You are? That was before my time with you." And Gamora tells her, "Well, you're with us now, so you're their enemy as well." Kitty doesn't see how that's really fair. Peter begins to speak up, stating that they do have to go get her. And Flash Thompson, also known as Venom, asks, "Who are we getting? Can't we get help?" And Peter says, "Yeah, but there's no one to call." Kitty says that it's right, so them against a planet. And Peter asks, "How are we gonna do that?" So Gamora tells them that they'll split up. Kitty and Peter both repeat the sentence. Oh. They split up. Later, once they all get into position, Flash and the now infused Groot jump off of Peter's ship down towards the planet. Groot watches as Peter and Kitty jump as well, and he keeps saying, "I am Groot, I am Groot, I am." Once they land, Flash says that their landing was a bit off, so they're gonna have to walk it, and it shouldn't be too far. They just need to not be out in the open, and that's when they hear a snap. They look up to see Skrulls. Flash shouts that he's been waiting for this and he jumps into attack, but Groot stops him, telling him, "I am Groot!" Flash tries to fight through Groot, but one of the Skrulls steps forward, stating, "I speak your Earth language." Flash again tries to shoot a spike towards the Skrull, but Groot catches it and points off for him to look. Groot shows him that the Skrulls are prisoners. They are not the enemy. Flash tells him, "Well, fine. But the thing is, these Skrulls tried to take over Earth, and from the looks of it, their shape is looking a bit outdated. How about they change into something more like a modern line Avenger?" The Skrulls tell him that they can no longer shapeshift, that Badoon took that from them. Once the Annihilation Wave destroyed their planet, they searched for a new place to start the Skrull Empire. But that was when the Badoon attacked and captured the Skrulls. Groot smiles, but Flash simply says, "First the Skrulls tried to steal Earth, then they tried to steal me, and now you want me to rescue them, and I'm the asshole of this story?" One of the Skrulls points up, stating, "They are coming! Our masters are coming!" Everyone looks up to see several ships flying down towards them, and soon many Badoon begin jumping off, firing their guns at them. Flash and Groot begin to fight with them, and soon the Skrulls jump in to help. Groot starts with the roar cry, "I am Groot!" And Flash tells him, "Yeah, you tell him!" As the dust begins to settle and the last Badoon is defeated, Flash tells them that it's time for them to leave, and one of the Skrulls asks if he means all of them. Flash asks, "Well, exactly how many of you are there?" The Skrull begins to lead Flash and Groot into a cave, and he tells them to adjust their eyes. Groot holds up a light, and Flash sees that the cave is filled with Skrulls. And he tells them, "Okay, let's go, every single one of you." Over in the Dryston Tower, the Warden's high tower, the Warden begins to panic due to the fact that these Guardians of the Galaxy have single-handedly invaded their planet. An entire planet! It's fine though. He just has to think of a plan before this becomes a further embarrassment to the Brotherhood. They need to, but before he can finish his sentence, a giant explosion goes off and the warden asks, "What is happening?" His men and him look up to see a small ship flying towards them, and out Drax and Gamora come jumping. Drax says that, "I needed this," and he begins slaughtering all of the Badoon, and then he grabs the warden demanding to know, "Are you the one who's in charge?" While Drax is trying to figure out where they put her, Gamora begins her assault, but soon is stomped on one of the larger Badoons as she's knocked off the side of the building. Soon Gamora begins to wake up finding herself in chains, and the Badoon in front of her tells her that she is now a prisoner, and he is here to extract the truth from her. They would like to very much know how it is that Gamora and her friends have found out that she is here. Gamora asks if she's alive, and the interrogating Badoon tells her, "Yes, ironically, she was here in the same facility. However, you will never see her." Gamora asks, "Why?" And the interrogating Badoon tells her that her power is unique. We need more unique power sources to reach our goals. But there is something else that the Badoon would like to know. Just where is Thanos? It's as if he's hiding. He then pushes a needle close to Gamora's eye, and she stops him, asking if he knows what the black vortex is. He stops and tells her, "Of course I do. The Kree lost their homeworld over it. Do you know where that is?" She tells him she touched it, and she's been using it to hunt down Thanos. There was a problem. Every time she used it, the power started to fade a little. So she's been saving the last little bit for a special occasion. Soon the room begins to fill with light and Gamora breaks out of her chains. The power begins to spread and soon a massive explosion goes off, launching bodies out of the room. Gamora then walks out asking one of the guards, "Where is she?" The guard points over and with a flick of her arm, Gamora slices through the guard. She then walks over to the cell the guard pointed out, blows open the door, asking if she can stand. Angela tells her that if she's here to rescue her, she accepts. The light begins to fade from Gamora's eyes. She tells the black vortex goodbye, but they need to hurry out of here. Angela says that she could use a cleaning first, and then a voice calls out to her. When the two girls look back, they see Drax stating, "I found your things, so we can leave now." While Angela suits up, Drax tells Gamora that the Brotherhood has taken Quill. As Angela finishes getting ready, she tells them, "Then we will go rescue him and destroy this entire empire of blood once and for all." Over on the home planet of the Brotherhood of Badoon, Peter stands trial because he's told, because of his crimes, he's gonna be sentenced to death. He says that it's a real bummer personally. So are they gonna talk him to death? One of the guards kicks Peter off of the ledge down to an arena filled with other Badoon getting ready to fight. As the leader begins to watch, a Badoon appears telling him that he needs to have a word with him. It's about the Guardians of the Galaxy. They escaped. The leader looks back and asks how many people were stationed on that planet, and the Badoon tells him hundreds of thousands. He then asks how many of the Guardians of the Galaxy were there, and the Badoon tells him it fluctuates, but 5 were there. The leader looks back and he shouts, "And we have their leader?" Down in the arena, Peter shouts, "Step into a Slim Jim!" and he begins to drop the Badoon. The leader begins to hold his head, asking, "How could this happen?" And Peter shouts, "I don't mind dying, but could you at least pay attention to me dying?" So the leader starts to give out some orders, but that's when a hand reaches through his chest, and Kitty whispers to him, "Hi, I'm Kitty Pryde, and I just phased my whole arm through you. It's a thing that I do. I'm gonna pull my arm back, pulling out whatever I can grab, unless you all surrender and shut this whole thing down." The leader says that they won't surrender, and that's when Kitty pulls her arm back, taking his heart out of his chest. Maybe? Ew! What is this? The guards begin to fire at Kitty, and she asks if they missed the part about phasing through things. Down in the arena, Peter begins to shout, "Yes!" holding his arms up while the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy begin to jump down from their ship. Rocket tells Peter, "Settle down!" And Flash tells everyone else to hurry before Peter loses any more of his clothes. He's gonna be naked down there. Everyone begins destroying the Badoon forces, and Angela thanks Kitty for saving their leader for her. She's eternally grateful. As explosions go off, Rocket throws Peter his guns and tells him to be useful for once. Peter shouts back at him, telling him, "Shut up! I'm having the time of my life down here!" And Rocket tells him, "Well, you got me there." So on their search for Angela, the Guardians kind of took a detour, liberating prisoners and slaves from all over the galaxy, and it didn't really take much to motivate them to fight back. As the battle continues now with all these slaves and prisoners fighting with them, Peter mentions that they should probably go on and get out of here before things get any uglier. They just can't beat up an entire species. And that's when the voice of Angela calls out to everyone to hear her. She stands with the head of the Brotherhood leader, telling them that their days of slavery and terrorizing are over. They will fix what they have done, or she will destroy them all. Peter states that he thinks the fight is over, and Rocket says, "I'll go get the ship." While the crew gets back on their ship and they begin to celebrate, Flash calls Peter over to see something. Everyone begins to pile into the communications room to see a broadcast from Captain Marvel. She tells them that if they're not busy, she could really use their help back on Earth. Peter asks what's going on, and she tells him, well, it's Tony Stark. He's gone off the rails. And that's how the Guardians of the Galaxy got back to Earth for Civil War. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I personally really love the Guardians of the Galaxy books. I think it's some of the best books Marvel's putting out right now. So don't forget to check it out yourself. Follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian, Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you guys next time right here.